and you commit to a certain percentage of participation, that at the end of the day, you in fact follow through on that commitment. And it's our responsibility to monitor that participation. So here are some of the key components that we're going to be looking for as it relates to the ACDBE in the participation in the RFP. This is a valuable consideration, and I want to share with you that the board takes this program very seriously. And we hesitate from calling it a program because it is so integrated into the business process and the culture of DFW. And so it's a very important element in the overall selection process. And we're not looking so much as to meet the goal as we are to make sure that the participation that you come to the table with is meaningful. Yes, we want you to meet the 35% goal, but we want that participation not to be diluted with 6 ACDBEs that would only get 6-7% of the participation. You know, look for an opportunity to really expand on their role in your teams. Part of the ACDBE program requires that the participants, especially the ACDBE, participate with a very active role, that they have a hands-on role in the operations of the concessions. 2 ways that you can achieve this is through equity participation, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that shortly, or subcontracting purchasing participation. And earlier the question was asked if you needed to list your suppliers, furniture, giftware, I think is what your question was. If your suppliers are MWBE, that's another way that you can fulfill that 35% goal. So if they're MWBE, I would encourage you to include them in the plan that you're going to submit in the RFP. Various forms for ACDBE participation, especially at the equity participation level. We've seen joint ventures, we've seen partnerships, we've seen corporate ownerships, and we've seen sublease agreements, arrangements. So plenty of opportunity for you to explore relationships. It's a business decision that you have to make in terms of what works best for your team. The other key component that we're going to look for in your proposal is, especially from the majority firms, what programs, what assistance can you give your MWBE partner in making sure that at the end of the day, you have a successful operation? Like I mentioned, this is almost like a marriage that you're coming to the table with, and everything requires work. So what can you do? How can you support your MWBE partner or ACDBE partner, whether it's administrative support, some type of operations support, personnel support, mentoring. We have so many firms that when the Terminal D rolled out, were able to participate at the prime level, were able to participate at a more significant role because of partnerships they had developed over the previous years as subcontractors to the primes. That's what we're looking for. It's important that we meet the goal, but it's also important that 10 years from now, your ACDBE partners can compete at the prime level. One more comment on this slide is that we do not allow for the exclusive teaming arrangements. So if you ask me, if Company A asks me to be their partner and team with them, but Company Z also comes to me and says, would you consider being on my team as well? You cannot tell the ACDBE, you're exclusive to me, and if you team with me, you cannot team with anyone else. Okay, that's not allowed. We're talking about opportunities here and maximizing those opportunities for ACDBEs. So here's the official definition of a joint venture as defined by the FAA. Two key components to remember is on your joint ventures, they are looking for a distinct, clearly defined portion of the work. And your proposal should make sure that there's no guesswork involved. Your proposal needs to delineate their roles, their responsibilities, how they're going to actively participate in the management of the concessions. And the second piece of it is capital contribution, that they equally share not only in the contribution of capital, that they also share in the control of the business and the management of the business, that they have the opportunity to help make business decisions, that they share in the risks and the profits of the joint venture. This is what we're going to look for when we review your draft joint venture agreement that's part of the RFP. So there's a lot of thought that is going to be required in order to fulfill, to draft this joint venture agreement. Don't leave it till the very end. When we went through, we recently had a FAA compliance, and we had to go back and look at the existing joint ventures and see if they were all in compliance. Those that were not in compliance, it must have taken at least 2 to 3 months to bring them into compliance, to work with their attorneys. Like I said, this is a business marriage that you guys need to consult with your attorneys, your accountants, make sure that everything is clearly defined and that there's no guessing on our part. What exactly is the ACDBE doing in this teaming arrangement? It should be very clear. We do have, if you go to our website, dfwairport.com, click on business opportunities, and then click on business diversity, ACDBE program, there are some templates in there of what a joint venture agreement looks like and what key components you need to include in that agreement. This slide is applicable if for some odd reason you can only come up with 5% ACDBE participation. It's called a good faith effort documentation process. If for whatever reason you do not meet that goal, you need to submit this. It's a 13-step process that's outlined in these special provisions. It's the things you have to do or have had done in order to prove to us that there was just no way possible you could come and meet the 35% goal. For non-certified ACDBEs and MWBEs, you must demonstrate that you made a good faith effort to meet the ACDBE goal, okay? If you're an ACDBE, you must also demonstrate that you made a good faith effort to achieve the ACDBE goal. However, your self-performance as an ACDBE will count towards the participation contract goal. And what we're looking here for is what opportunities do you have to bring in suppliers, to bring in some of your providers of whether it's merchandise or food or beverages. You still have opportunities there to subcontract those out to ACDBEs. It's a plus. It's what we're looking for, the over and beyond in your proposals. In terms of certification, if you are certified ACDBE, you're ready to participate. If you're not certified ACDBE, you're behind the 8 ball because it takes at least 60 to 90 days on a good day to get certified through North Central Texas Regional Certification Agency. And he's smiling, so he must know what I'm talking about. You must be certified at the time that the proposal is submitted. I think Peter talked about things changing or your proposal, your team sort of falling apart after submission. The last time we did this, we allowed for teams to come to the table with pending certifications. And 3 months later, those ACDBEs were